Good morning. Committee on Parole is reconvening. We're now at Louisiana State Penitentiary. Today is Monday, February 3rd, 2025. The time is 10 a.m. Would the staff there at Angola please introduce yourself for the record?
Deputy Warden Ashley Olivo.
Reginald Langmore, classification.
Corin Shipley, offender records.
Taylor Rackett, classification.
All right, thank you. And let me acknowledge the folks we have who've joined us and waiting on my list. I think we have Mr. Kerry Myers with the Parole Project. Mr. Myers is here in support. In opposition, we have the Assistant District Attorney, Mr. Wilson. We also have representing the victim, Terry Kennedy, Dane Kennedy, Susan Frierson, Connie Hoover, and Juanita Godwin. And those who've indicated they'd like to speak, we'll call on them at the appropriate time. Mr. Wise, first, would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Ivan Wise, 87590.
All right, Mr. Wise, you're classified as a first felony offender, currently serving a life sentence for a second-degree murder conviction. You were sentenced in June of 1977. Is that information correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
And you had a parole eligibility date, which was determined to be August 1st, 2017.
Right.
Okay. Mr. Wise, before we get started, would you take a moment to tell us what you did, what led you to prison, and why do you think this panel should vote to grant your parole today?
Well, I was out at the bar in Slidell, met Marcia at the bar. I hadn't seen her in 5 years. I went to school with her in Slidell High. We hitchhiked to my house. To my truck, my boss had it down the road a little ways. We got my truck and went to my house. We got in an argument. I don't know what started it or whatever, but we got in an argument, and next thing I know, she's dead. And I took all the evidence and scattered it around the parish. Told the sheriff about it. I told him everything, and they bonded me out for $25,000. I stayed out 6 or 8 months, and I was arrested in 76 and tried in 76. So it wasn't very long that I was convicted behind that. I'm sorry about the whole thing. I don't understand what happened today. I still don't understand. I know what happened though.
So why do you think we ought to vote to grant you parole?
Well, it's been almost 50 years. I think it's 48 right now. I think 49. I feel like I've done enough time. That's the way I feel. I'm a first offender. I've never been involved with the law in any kind of way. This is the only time.
All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's hear from the warden. What can you tell us about Mr. Wise?
Yes, ma'am. He is, as we stated, serving a life sentence for second-degree murder. He lives at our trustee camp, Camp F. He currently works as a tier walker at our death row area. He's had a total of 5 DV reports, with the last one being September of 2002. He has completed victim awareness, inside out deaths, thinking for a change, 100 hours, anger management, victim accountability letter training. His tiger risk is low. He hasn't enrolled in any of the vocational programs that we offer. He does have, although in the past, looking at his record, he has worked with the carpentry crew here at Angola in the past. And I did ask him why he got out of that trade per se, and he said he was just ready for a change. That's about all I can say for Mr. Wise today.
Thank you, Ronaldo. We appreciate your input. Mr. Myers, could we hear from the Parole Project, please?
Good morning. Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. Here to let the board know, should this board grant Mr. Wise parole today, Parole Project is prepared to offer Mr. Wise long-term transitional housing and reentry support. I'm also here to answer any questions that the board might have.
Any questions for Mr. Myers? All right, I don't see any at this time, so we'll move on to the opposition. First, we'd like to hear from Ms. Terry Kennedy. All of them, I believe, are with Mr. Wilson. So, Mr. Wilson, if you have a different order, I'll defer to you if you'd like.
No, ma'am. Just if y'all will bear with us, we're dealing with a wide-angle camera that keeps going in and out. So we're going to have everyone that needs to speak will just step up to this camera that I'm facing right now. Does that work for y'all? If y'all can
Yeah, that
see me.
works fine. Yes, that
Okay.
works fine.
Ms. Kennedy, if you just want to come right up here and just look directly into that little circle, I think that should work.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Terry Kennedy, and my sister, Marcia Norris, was murdered by Ivan Wise. She was horribly beaten and strangled before she was shot in the chest. Ivan always repeats, which he did not today, but every other time he's repeated that he trusts her up like a deer to carry her. He put my sister in the dirty water of Bayou Bunfuka. He hid her from us for 2 days. It was so horrible not knowing where she was, that the horror of hoping that she was tied up somewhere, held captive and not killed, but we knew because she did not call about her children that night. She had always called. And just the idea of him trying to blame her, he has done that several times, told lies and tried to blame her for that he killed her. My sister was a good mama. She didn't get to raise her sons or to be an aunt to my children. David and Jeremy have suffered because they were not raised by their mother. And this is the picture of my sister with her 2 kids. That's what she looked like right before she died. My heart has been broken every day since April 3rd, 1976. Our lives have never been the same. Her voice, her laugh is never here. Someone, my sister, is always missing. My heart truly aches with the pain of her not being here. Every year I dread April 3rd. I am so aware of the date coming up. Mentally, it affects me, thinking of what she went through that night. Marcia being all alone, being beaten by Ivan, then seeing the gun, helpless. What thoughts were going through her mind? It torments me. I watched Ivan at the trial. He sat there with a smirk on his face. He didn't act like he was sorry for what he had done. He didn't act like he is now. Please don't let him out of prison. My sweet sister is never coming out of the grave. So that's basically what I wanted to say. Please don't let him out.
Carrie, I did have one question. How old is your sister?
She was only 23.
23, and how old were the 2 boys at that time?
18 months and 4.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Could we hear from Dane Kennedy, please?
I entered this family 24 years ago, and I've seen and heard the trauma even until today. And we have to relive it every 3 years. I've watched, I've listened, I've read reports. I'm not here to speak to Ivan's case record because obviously it's right there in front of you. The criminal justice system did its job, gave him life, eligibility for parole. But even today, as I watch, Ivan Wise has no remorse. He still does not take accountability. The testimonies are there historically, and still today he said before you being a liar. Sociopathy does not go away. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And then we have Susan Frierson.
Good morning. My name is Sue Frierson. The victim, Marcia Norris, was my niece. I was the person who discovered that she was missing. She didn't come home after going out with her girlfriends. And I walked over to her house because I had a book she liked to read. Marcia liked to read. And when I got there, the babysitter said, Marcia didn't come home. I said, what? Why didn't you call somebody? Let us know what. They said, well, we went to sleep and we didn't know. It was like a sledgehammer hit me in the head. I couldn't believe that those kids, they didn't call someone. That was not like Marcia. She didn't go off and leave her babies and not come home to them. And I immediately called her mother. Her mother was at work, and I called her mother. And it was days before her body was found. She had been shot, tossed in the bayou, tied up. This is a sad story. It's something that we live with every day of our lives. as her family, we live with this every day. This man was found guilty by a jury of his peers and sentenced to life in prison. We would like to see him say life in prison. I'm sorry we feel like this, but we miss this person. We miss Marsha, and we're having to live without her. Her boys have lived without her basically all of their lives. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Ryerson. And Mr. Wilson.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Ms. Renatson, the members of the board. Just at the outset, I want to state that the district attorney and the district attorney's office strongly believes that the members of this board are reasonable and will see the facts as the jurors did. Now, I know that you've reviewed the record in this case to the extent that it's been prepared to you by the parole board. My comments will be brief, but I just want to read something, and this is from the packet that's been provided to you from the trial facts. In addition to the defensive wounds, the victim had blood clots behind her eyes, which suggested she had been strangled before death. An electrical cord was tied around her neck. Wise shot Marsha as she was laying on the bridge, as evidenced by some bloodstains on the pavement. Finally, he tossed her in the water. Now, I think it's very evident. You can listen to what Mr. Wise is saying, that this was an accident, or his dismissive claim a minute ago to you offensively that, quote, the next thing I knew she was dead. That's not what happened here. You can look at the trial record and you know what happened, the same way as the jurors understood what happened in this case. He wanted something from her that she wasn't prepared to do for him. And when she didn't do it, this is the way he reacted. He savagely beat her, strangled her, then shot her through the heart and threw her body over a bridge. But for an ill-conceived and unjust window in the 1970s parole laws, this defendant wouldn't be before you today to cause further pain for the family of his victim. The district attorney asks you to cure this injustice and keep Ivan Wise exactly where he belongs for the rest of his life. He has already gotten his break. He should have received capital punishment for this abominable crime. Now, I mentioned just a second ago, and I'm going to bring it up again in closing, his own statement, next thing I knew she was dead. That's the way he sees this. That is not the words of someone you can trust amongst law-abiding citizens. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. We appreciate the input from the DA's office. Mr. Wise, your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. Would you answer his questions, please?
Was that the district attorney speaking then?
That was Butch Wilson from the district attorney's office. Would you answer Mr. Tillis' questions, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to say something first.
No, sir. You're going to answer Mr. Tillis' questions.
Okay.
You don't have the opportunity to rebut. Mr. Tillis.
Good morning, Mr. Wise. How are you?
Good morning.
I heard you say at the end of your statement, opening statement, that you knew what happened. I read your case several times, and I'd like to ask just, when you guys left the bar, you were going back to your house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What caused the fight?
We got in an argument about children. I don't understand what we were arguing about, really. She was separated from her husband. That's what she was doing out that night. They were fixing to get a divorce and all that.
So when you got back to the house, after a while, you got into an argument with her?
Oh, yeah, within 10, 15 minutes, yeah.
It must have been pretty serious.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what happened? What caused it?
Well, like I said, we got in an argument about children.
Okay, I have no more questions.
I do. Mrs.
Yeah, I've got some questions. You've been very flippant when you've described that really you just think you need to get out because it's your time to get out. That's really all this amounts to. You've served enough time, and what you did and how you did it and how brutal the crime is has absolutely, in your mind, nothing to do with it. It has a lot to do with it with me. Because I've read what you did to this lady, and then, she was 23 years old. She had the whole rest of her life. She had 2 little boys, which is why I asked her age, 18 months and 4 years. Chances are the 18-month-old child probably won't have a good memory of his mother. And I'm sure she was a very loving mother. And you never have mentioned in any of this stuff victim impact. Tell me about victim impact, what you think this did. Because you didn't talk about that either.
No, it hurt both their families and friends and my families and friends. It hurt everybody that was involved in the case. I understand that.
That's very descriptive. In victim impact, it's almost, it's not cliche, but you hear it so often without any absolute reference as to what they mean with the ripple effect. But it's also generational obliteration. I mean, for those children, their mother just dissolved that night. She just didn't come home. And then for the family, the ripple effect is, yes, like, she doesn't pick up the phone every day and call her sister and say, hey, I just wanted to check in on you. Those are the kind of like everyday things. Mom, what you cooking today, that they're used to seeing her do. Those are the everyday things that when you talk about the ripple effect, it's also just the daily occurrences that you're used to that person doing. These children were used to a mother's hug and kisses, that when you did what you did in such a heinous way, you stole that from these children. So I didn't hear anything from you other than I need to get out because I've served my time, and there you go. I guess what this was a statement, because I really don't have any questions for you because you haven't answered any questions.
Any other questions? Mr. Wise, I was going to ask you about your training in victim awareness also. I don't think I need to do that at this point. Were you under the influence of anything other than alcohol at the time of the murder?
Yes, ma'am.
What was it?
There was some pills, smoked a joint or two.
What kind of,
Mostly drinking, though.
what was the pills? Do you remember the pills?
I can't remember what they were.
Was it, was it speed?
I think it was. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, so all that mixed together, okay. I think we're prepared to vote. Mr.
Sure.
So,
I wanted to ask one more question.
okay.
Did you take any drug abuse classes? I see you didn't take any while you were there.
Sir?
Did you take any abuse classes, drug abuse classes while you've been incarcerated? Have you?
I don't think so. No. No, sir.
Okay.
All right, I think we're ready to vote. Mr. Tillis.
My vote's gonna be to deny because of the opposition of the family, DA, and the sheriffs.
I wanted to say something about that district attorney. He
No,
told.
sir. No, sir. No, sir. Mrs. Stapleton?
And I concur with Mr. Tillis, and I would like to add, and also due to the heinous, gruesome nature of the crime.
Mrs. Ledoux?
Denied based on lack of remorse.
Mr. Freeman?
Lack of remorse and family opposition.
And Mr. Wise, I do agree with my colleagues. The last time I saw you at your hearing, I noted, and I told you then, that I was dying because of your lack of understanding of the impact of the crime and how important that is for success in the community. And none of that has changed. So my vote today is to deny, and it has been unanimous, sir. Your application for parole has been denied. That concludes our business there at the penitentiary. We're going to sign off at 10:24.